This review has been made possible by Toyota of Naperville. As you know, Toyota has tons of brand new Toyotas available for purchase, but did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2003 Ford Ranger Edge. Up front is a 3.0 liter V6 and down below is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Guys, I'm super excited to be driving this here Ranger for two big reasons. First of all, I've never driven this generation of the Ranger before. I've driven a late 80s, early 90s generation. I actually used to work on a farm and it was my farm truck there. And so I spent many a days, many a hours driving through cornfields in that truck. And then I've also reviewed a brand new Ford Ranger as well. So this is the middle ground. Is it more like the 80s truck or is it more like the modern truck? I guess we'll find out. And the second reason, the fact that this is a pretty clean example of a 2003. You know, 2003, that was 18 years ago. The people born in 2003 can legally vote this year, which is just a weird thought, but this is a clean example for the age, so I'm excited to show it off to you guys. Before we get on with the video, if you are looking to sell your car, click the link in the description below. Cashforcars.com is looking to buy your car with a clean title, salvage title, running, non-running, whatever it is. Get a quick and easy free quote with the link down in the description below. And once you agree upon the price, they will pick up your car in less than 24 hours. You don't even have to get off the couch. Let's get back to that 3.0 liter V6. It is not the standard engine that was fitted to these. Now you could get a 4-cylinder or the V6. This is the V6, known as the Vulcan V6, which I think is kind of a funny name. And I'll put the horsepower and torque up on the screen. It's not anything frame twisting. However, it delivers a good amount of power. And once we're warmed up here, we will be doing an acceleration test. I'll put the fuel economy up here as well. And the only reason I'll put that up is because this truck gets a lot of utility use. Small shops or businesses buy these vehicles, and fuel economy is important to them. So there it is. All right, we're warmed up out here on the test track. Leave it in 2-wheel drive, and I'm leaving the window up because it is currently 10 degrees outside. Struggling for grip. And yeah, that was 31 miles an hour. It's not a fast V6. You think, oh, a V6 truck, that's got to have some pep in its step. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have any pep in its step. However, that extra torque comes in handy when you're hauling something, when you have a big load in the bed, things like that. It is a nicer option to have a 6-cylinder rather than the 4-cylinder, but don't expect any significant power out of it. It's not really meant for straight line speed. It's meant for work. Like I said, paired to a 5-speed automatic transmission, it's fine. It's shifted on the column. I haven't really noticed anything weird about it. It is what it is. Last but not least, this particular Ranger is 4-wheel drive. However, some Rangers were 2-wheel drive. Some Ranger Edges were 2-wheel drive. However, this is the 4-wheel. One last thing before we get going here is the fact that this is the Ranger Edge. Now, the Edge was a trim package that was between the base model and second from the base model. So between the XL and XLT, you got the Edge. Basically what it means is it has a little bit different suspension and the body is all one color instead of any sort of two-tone. It's a monochrome design in white and it looks very period correct. Monochrome was kind of a big trend in the early 2000s, making everything the same color. So it fits right in with that. So with the drivetrain out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a bunch of analog gauges. I have my fuel and coolant temperature on the left, tachometer and speedometer in the middle, and my oil pressure and voltage on the right. I absolutely love the fact that I get oil pressure and voltage, as well as a tachometer. Even though it is an automatic, I still like knowing what the engine is doing. On the steering wheel, I just have my cruise control options on either side. And this is the big pillowy sort of airbag to come out of the late 90s when auto manufacturers didn't really know how to hide or compact airbags all that well. So it makes the middle of the steering wheel rather large and very, very dated at this point. However, that's the era I grew up with, being born in 97. Pretty much all the cars I grew up around had these big pillowy airbags, so I feel right at home. To the left of me, I have my headlight switch and my gauge dimmer switch. And on the door, I don't have anything but the crank for the window. Yes, this has crank windows. Like I said, it's down towards the base model, so I'm not surprised in any respect. Moving into the center, 2 climate control vents, a radio. This is the factory Ranger radio, and I do have a CD player, of course, AM and FM. That's about it. To the left of the radio, this is where you'll actually find the 4-wheel drive option. So 2-wheel drive, 4 high or 4 low. It is a twist knob, which you guys know isn't my favorite. I prefer the actual stick shifter down on the floor. However, this seems to be working well, and for 18 years of use, that's pretty good. To the right of the radio, I have a 12-volt outlet as well as my fog light switches, and then I have my climate controls down below that. Very basic climate controls, exactly what I would expect out of a pickup truck, and especially a pickup truck like this. Then down towards the center console, this is a very 90s thing, but I do actually have a passenger airbag off switch. You use the car's turn key to actually disengage the passenger's airbag. So if no one's sitting there, you can turn it off, but if someone sits down, you can turn it back on. My old pickup truck, my old 1998 Dodge Ram used to have this feature as well, and sometimes, as a goof, I would yell at my friends and threaten to turn their airbag off. So that's interesting that you get it here in the Ranger. And then I have a little center console, a little area that now fits an iPhone, but of course, this was before the era of iPhones. And I do have 2 cup holders, so of course we have to do a big friggin' bottle test. And unfortunately, these fail. The Ford Ranger fails the big friggin' bottle test, which is a little upsetting because this is a work utility vehicle, and I'm gonna be bringing a lot of water with me out on the job site. Here in Chicago, in the middle of the summer, roofing a building is a death sentence. And so you bring gallons of water with you to do it. And so unfortunately, the cup holders don't accommodate for that. However, you can pop up this higher edge side, which is interesting, but it still won't fit the bottle, so it still fails. Moving into the center, I actually do have a center console here that folds down between the seats. However, I do get a little seat in the middle with a little lap belt, which is very, very interesting. Again, something that we won't really see much of anymore is a middle jump seat with just a lap belt. So you can fit 2 other people in the Ranger if you want, but it is going to be a snug fit. Speaking of snug fits, the seats are okay. They are very base model. They're kind of hard, but it's to be expected out of a truck like this. I don't expect a massaging feature from a base model Ford Ranger. But we don't actually have back seats in this particular Ranger. However, that was an option. You could get a crew cabbed Ranger in the Edge trim level as well. However, it wasn't a full 4-door. It was just more like jump seats in the back, like the Chevy S10 of the same era. So I guess pick your poison. But since we don't have back seats, let's hop around back and take a look at the bed. All right, around the back of the 2003 Ford Ranger, we have this nice cover coming around the top, which I really, really like. It has these sort of tie-down hooks, things like that. But let's get around to the actual tailgate itself. Nothing too crazy in there. Although that is a divider, obviously it would go all the way through. I'll put the dimensions of this bed up on the screen right now. Nothing really too crazy, nothing interesting about the tailgate or anything like that. Tried and true, normal tailgate, but I like it. Now we gotta talk about the looks. Like I said, this is very, very early 2000s. The monochrome exterior, the chrome side steps, very, very early 2000s, and I like it. I think overall, it's a good looking pickup truck. And like I keep saying, you know, this truck only has 64,000 miles on it. This is a keeper. This is a good showing of what the Ford Ranger was like in the early 2000s. Speaking of exteriors, if you are legally required to run a front plate on your vehicle in the state or country that you live in, but you think it's too ugly, then click the link in the description below and get yourself a con plate. The con plate holder is a suction cup holder for your license plate that goes on the inside of your windshield. This means you can remain legal when driving around, but for pictures, for shows, it's easily removable from the windshield, so the front of your car looks its best. Click the link in the description below, get your own con plate, and keep your car looking good. So my final thoughts on the 2003 Ford Ranger. I like it. It's very, very basic. Very, very basic. And I know that that won't come as a shock to you, especially if you've owned a Ford Ranger. But I like the fact that it's basic. That's what I loved about the late 80s, early 90s Ranger that I had as a work truck out on the farm. I loved how basic the interior was. Everything felt well built. And while this suffers from build quality ever so slightly, there's a lot of plastic in here. It still feels basic enough to last a long time. And that's what I worry about with the new Ford Ranger. It has a nice touchscreen in the center. That's great, but living out on a farm, that touchscreen is gonna get dust and dirt and hay, and let's be honest, probably a little bit of manure into that screen, and it's probably not gonna work anymore. The new one has heated seats, but it's just a matter of time until those don't work anymore. The new one has a turbo. It's just a matter of time before the seals go or the bearings go. That's what I love about this here Ford Ranger, is that everything in here is going to work for a long time. Yes, the radio is severely outdated, but it doesn't have a big screen that can break. As long as you can push the buttons, it's gonna still work. The gauges aren't digital, so as long as the gears don't break, they'll still work. I really feel like this Ranger was built to last. So my last closing thought and talking point is that if you've owned a Ford Ranger like this, please leave a comment. Tell me a story about your Ford Ranger. I love reviewing older vehicles like this because over time, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in a couple of months, the comment section ends up being filled with stories of ownership. People saying, hey, I drove one of those in high school. My dad used to always pick me up on the weekends in one of those. The first fender bender I ever got in was with one of those. And of course, trucks have even more stories. Was this your first work truck? Was this the first vehicle you ever got stuck in a rut and you had to leave it overnight because you probably weren't supposed to be where you were? Is this the first truck that you used to pull out the neighbor's car when you got 3 feet of snow? Please leave a comment if you own one of these or have owned one in the past. I love, love, love reading the stories of the people. And all of that is possible because these are built to last. And I'm not so sure that that can be said about their modern counterparts. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for letting me take out their used 2003 Ford Ranger. I absolutely love driving it. Toyota Naperville, they're absolutely awesome. Their information is up on the screen as well as linked in the description below. Super helpful staff. They are absolutely awesome. Been working with them for about 2 years now, and it's been bright and sunny every day I work with them. So give them your business. They are absolutely awesome. And this truck is actually for sale from them right now. 64,000 miles. That is not bad at all. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.